All right, we are transports tonight were Clark and Formiga. Bonuses tonight were all performance, no fight of the night. We got O'Malley, Sterling, Garbrandt, and Perez. They all won $50,000. Congratulations. And who's first?
Dana. Amanda Nunes obviously had a pretty thorough performance tonight. Curious just kind of what you thought about Amanda's performance and what you do with her next when she's just seemingly on this higher tier than anybody right now.
Yeah, no, this card was awesome, and it was a good night. How do you guys like watching fights in the Apex? Great, right? It's actually fun and looks great on TV. Really happy with it. And Amanda Nunes, I told you guys many times, is the GOAT. Tonight she put on a clean. You saw everything tonight. You saw power punches. She set the tempo, set the pace of the fight, did what she wanted when she wanted to do it. Kicks to the legs, kicks to the body, kicks to the head, takedowns, takedown defense, elbows. I mean, just everything that you could see in an MMA fight, she put out there tonight. It was a bad night to be in a tent, huh? Yeah, she looked good. And then when you think about opponents, we think back to Anderson Silva, John Jones, and many others that, you know, we were sitting here having the same conversation. Who's next? There's always somebody next.
Great night for the bantamweights, of course. You said going in you were looking at Sandhagen and Aljamain as a number one contender fight. Obviously, Aljamain looked impressive. Is he getting his title shot now?
That Matt Serra Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, yeah. Well, you guys know what the next fight is, but yeah, he'll get the shot after that.
Nice. Is there any thought at all? I mean, although Jan keeping it together, some people were saying maybe that was so impressive you might break that fight up.
I think that fight's done.
Nice. Report this morning that Fight Island is Abu Dhabi. Are you able to confirm? I know you've been keeping that under wraps, but are you able to confirm if it is Abu Dhabi?
I will announce next week, and I will show you pictures, and I will give you a lot more information.
Fantastic. Couple of quick ones. Conor McGregor took to social media just a little bit ago and said he's retiring. Curious if he spoke to you, if you guys knew something like this was in the works. He says he's done.
So I'll remind everybody that we're in a pandemic. The world is a crazy place right now with all these things that are going on. And, I think that everybody feels this right now. There's no fans, can't travel the fights around. I think everybody is pissed off, confused, been locked up in their houses for 3.5 months. People are wearing masks. People are, there's protests, there's riots. The list goes on and on. And I don't know. I don't, listen, if you don't think that what I'm doing right now is probably the hardest thing that I've ever done, and if you don't think that 3 times a day I throw my fucking hands up and I'm ready to say, you know what? Fuck this shit. Believe me. And the amount of people that I have gunning at me right now is insane. It's insane. But here we are. This is our, 5th fight? We've pulled off our 5th fight. No other sports are going right now but us. And one of the beautiful things about this sport is you don't have to fight. This isn't the NBA or the NFL where you better be at practice, you better show up and do this, you better do that. You don't have to do anything here. And if these guys want to sit out and retire right now, or anybody feels uncomfortable in any way, shape, or form with what's going on, you don't have to fight. It is all good. So if that's what Conor's feeling right now, John Jones, Jorge Masvidal, I feel you. It's not like I'm going, holy shit, this is crazy. This is nuts. Nothing is crazy and nuts right now because everything is crazy and nuts right now. So on a certain level, I totally understand it and get it.
Masvidal, he spoke to ESPN earlier tonight. He said he laid out a statistic that fighters get paid 18% of the revenue generated by the UFC. Are you able to address that, whether that's accurate and whether that's a number that could change, that he's saying fighters should get more of the revenue that's generated?
Being the financial wizard that he is, I'm assuming his numbers are correct. Here's the thing about Masvidal. We just signed a new deal with Masvidal. Masvidal just signed a new 8-fight deal. He's got 7 fights left on his deal, you know? And my people were working with him and trying to get a deal done with him when he already has a deal. John Jones has like 7 fights left on his deal. He just signed a new deal less than a year ago. So guys, you can say whatever you want about it. I have a deal. We just did a deal with both guys. This isn't one of those scenarios where like they've got some 3-year-old deal and it's like, oh man, that was 3 years ago. I'm in a much different place. This was months ago.
Dana, Jim Greasehaber, cage side seat. Just a question about leading from the front. You know, I was talking to Dave Lockett earlier about you guys are leading from the front in the sports world. You're the first to do it. You're the only ones doing it. You're taking a lot of shots doing it. But you're succeeding in so many ways. Can you talk about that mentality to lead from the front? You're vulnerable, people taking shots at you, but you're also leading that charge and giving people what they need in a lot of ways right now in a tough world that we live in.
Well, thank you, sir. I don't know if that was a question or a compliment, but I appreciate it.
Want your statement on that, what it feels like to be leading from the front. You know, the bullets are coming at you, but you're also leading the way.
It's a catch-22. It feels great. And it's a fucking nightmare at the same time. Let's put it that way. So I'll tell you, I said it 2 minutes ago. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. And I was here when we bought this thing, and this thing was dead, and we had to literally get people interested in it. So to tell you that this is the hardest thing I've ever done, that's a hell of a statement.
And you still get up every morning with that same piss and vinegar that you've always had from day one?
I do, yeah. I don't know how much of this shit I got left in me, man, but I'm still doing it. Yeah.
Hey, Dana. Is it time to do Valentina versus Amanda again?
For the 3rd time?
No.
Amanda won twice?
No interest in that at all?
No. I don't think that's the right fight for Valentina. First of all, and if you look at Amanda, she's the queen of 2 divisions right now, 35, right? And 45. And I think what you'd see before that is a couple more wins from Weili, and that fight happening before you would see the Amanda fight again.
I don't know if you saw Dan Le Batard declined your offer of $250,000, said that's too low, and he's going to come at you with a counter on it.
Let me tell you what, the last thing anybody wants to see is 2 50-year-old idiots fighting, okay? One thing that we've all learned from the fight business is nothing good comes out of 50-year-olds fighting. Except there's a shitload of people who would love to see me get knocked out, and there's even more people that would love to see Dan Le Batard get knocked out. So this isn't a negotiation. I put up 250. What's he putting up? We're negotiating? You said you want to fight me for charity. I said, okay, I'll put up $250,000. We'll do it. You're lowballing me like all your fighters, and there will be a negotiation. No, idiot. There won't be any negotiation. You want to fight? Let's fight. We'll do it.
Did you see Jorge Masvidal offered to train him?
Yeah, I did.
He's
out of work, so makes sense.
Just going back to the Conor thing, you said that you're not surprised anything can happen right now. But did you hear from him personally about that, or was that?
No, that one of my people grabbed me and showed it to me on social media. But that's Conor. You know how Conor works. That's how he does things. But listen, Conor, there's been a handful of people that have made this thing really fun for me. And Conor's one of those guys. You know, and I said the other day to somebody, you know, when you look at the star power that Conor McGregor, the star that he became, he introduced this thing globally to people in places that had never seen it before or been interested in it. And, you know, every star that we've ever had has contributed a piece to building the sport and building this brand. Conor's been fun. It's been awesome. And he's got, I heard some information today, which is funny that it was today. It's because of this deal that I'm working on. But Proper 12 whiskey has sold an obscene amount of liquor, you know? And I don't know what his financial situation is with that thing, but I would imagine he owns a good piece of it. Conor McGregor's not going to need any money anytime soon, you know? He loves the fight. He's passionate about it. And He's got an incredible fighter IQ, but whatever his reason is, when a guy said, you know my feelings on retirement. When you say you want to retire, don't worry about it. You do your thing, man. And it's all good.
Thanks, Dana.
Dana, I want to congratulate you on a fantastic event, my first one in person.
Thank you. Good to see you again.
Thank you. Good to see you as well. And let's start with Amanda. I know you've spoken about it a little bit already, but the question is, who is next for her? Obviously, motherhood is going to come first, possibly, before she fights again. But now she's actually fought and made history. You said it's not going to be Shevchenko. That doesn't make sense again. Are there any names that spring to mind or that she's even mentioned?
Not off the top of my head. You know how I am. There's so much stuff going on right now. That's the last thing that I'm thinking about. And she looks so good tonight. I'm just focused on that performance and her fight. But she's at number 8 right now, right? 3 more and she ties Anderson Silva. A few more after that and she ties John Jones. So it's going to depend on how high she wants to set this bar and how much longer she wants to keep fighting. Because she, too, has made enough money where she can retire if she wanted to.
And Felicia Spencer tonight, I mean, she showed incredible toughness. I think we'll all agree with that. And the commentators, as per a couple of weeks ago, were talking about should someone have thrown in the towel, should the ref at any point have stopped it. Were you worried for her at any point, or you're just sort of praising the toughness of Felicia?
Yeah, no, listen, that woman is one of the toughest human beings that I have ever seen in my life. I actually was praying somebody was going to stop that fight before the start of the 5th round. And you know she's tough. She's tough, and you can't take anything away from her going 5 rounds with the best to ever do it.
And the bantamweights were on fire tonight. Obviously, Aljamain Sterling, Cody Garbrandt, and then Sugar Sean O'Malley as well. You've said this is a kid we should look out for. What do you got to say about his performance?
Garbrandt's knockout was incredible. The timing, the speed, you know, the time left on the clock. Everything about that made that one of the best knockouts I've ever seen in my career. And Sugar Sean O'Malley fought a real guy tonight, a real veteran of the sport, a guy that you know was a really big test for him, and he passed that test with flying colors. So I'm excited for what's next for him too.
So Aljamain will fight the winner of Aldo and Yan. That's obviously
correct.
Going to be what in a month or so's time.
Yeah, I don't know. Off the top of my head, I don't know.
So,
Fight Island though.
So how much longer before?
So July.
July. So
those guys will fight in July.
He gets his shot because obviously they then need
Who?
to rest off Aljamain.
Oh, I have no idea.
No idea.
Yeah.
Okay. And I want to ask you about the welterweight division as well. I know you've addressed Masvidal and wanting more money on that kind of stuff, but I want to focus on the title fight, Usman. You said it could be Burns, but we had Leon Edwards on our show at BT Sport tonight saying that he's been in some talks that he could in fact get that next title shot. So who's the front runner?
We'll see what happens.
Ooh, not giving anything away.
Nope.
But what are the divisions that excite you the most right now? Because obviously we've talked about bantamweights tonight, the welterweight division. There's a lot of moving parts as well. They seem to be the front runners.
Of
the
what?
division that excites you the most right now, where they seem to have the most.
Oh God! I mean, all these divisions right now. The 170-pound division tonight. You know, we're talking about hopefully getting this thing done this summer for Stipe and Cormier 3, which is a fight that I'm excited to see. You know, a lot of fun stuff. And I'm excited to see Whaley fight again.
Thanks, Dana. Great to talk to you.
Thank you.
Hey, Dana. Just to go into, you know, O'Malley tonight even said he wanted more money and he was not happy. And so when you're looking at, you know, Conor and Jones and Masvidal and all this, not one individual, but just collectively, does that do anything to the brand when you have all these people and all these notable names making those kind of comments?
Yeah, we've been here many times before. This isn't the first rodeo.
With one guy, not
No,
like
that's not true.
One time, right?
Not true. We've been here before. This has happened to us before, more than once too.
Why do you think it's popping up at this time? Like, what is causing it right now?
How the hell do I know?
Well, I mean, you're talking to the guy, so I assume you would.
I'm not talking to him. I have no idea why this is going on.
And then
So you want me to tell you why this is going on right now?
well,
I love you. You know I love you, but that is a really stupid question.
No, it's not a stupid.
Such a stupid question.
You know what you're talking.
We're in a fucking pandemic, and the world is going crazy right now, and all these guys are like, well, I want more money too. I want more money. But let me tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to predict the future here. Most of the media in this country is going to get laid off in the next several months. And that's going to be a big, and everybody wants more money. And nobody wants to get laid off. And all these crazy things are going on in this world right now. Nothing is normal right now. Everything is crazy. And I am the only guy that is pulling off sporting events right now.
Right.
I
get that, but
but you're asking me a question. I don't fucking know. I can't tell you what's going to happen in the next fucking month with my business. I don't know. I don't give a fuck.
Right.
I'm doing what I can do to keep the bus on the fucking highway here, or the train on the tracks, or whatever you want to call it. I don't give a fuck. If people don't want to fight, you don't have to fight. If you're afraid of COVID-19, stay home. If you're fucking, whatever your deal is, you don't have to do it. I couldn't explain to you anything that's going on planet Earth right now. And neither can anybody else.
Did you, this thing from Conor seemingly out of, he's retired before, but had you seen this coming? Like, had you had any conversation with him that would indicate he might be planning to do something like this?
He's been wanting to fight. He's frustrated because he wants to fight. I'm sure that is a piece of it.
And the no fans, you can't have him fight? Is that essentially?
No. It's not that we can't have him fight, but who do you want to fight right now?
Okay.
You want to fight Ferguson? I mean, you want to fight, he had called out Masvidal. Okay. Who do you fight right now? And where do we fight Conor McGregor right now? Fight Island isn't even up and running till July. So if you look at all the problems to run a business like this, multiply it by a fucking million.
Right.
And that's where we are right now.
And then
and there's a lot of other shit that goes on behind the scenes right now that, it's a wacky time to be the first guy putting on live sports when a lot of fucking people who are nutty as hell didn't want you to.
You put on a show headlined by two women during a pandemic, and this wasn't Ronda Rousey versus Liz Carmouche, didn't get that kind of attention. But I understand that you were tracking fairly well on the show, right? So is Amanda become a draw herself, or do you think that it's just the fact that the sport has become, during the pandemic, the attraction?
Tonight was a very big night. The kids that are fighting right now, especially when you're a champion and you're reaping the pay-per-view benefits, are doing very well. This is the only game in town. And when I say that, I mean on the planet. And we're a global business. So, yeah, these kids that they get a piece of the pay-per-view are doing very well.
Mr. White, this is my first time back since the pandemic, so I haven't had a chance to ask you. When everything got crazy, it was, okay, this fight's happening, now it's not happening. Now it's going to happen at Apex. Next thing you know, Nevada says, we're not doing it. So Florida, you had success there. All of a sudden, Nevada had a change of tune. What exactly happened there to allow them to bring you all back?
Well, I wouldn't say that they changed their tune. Things started opening up again, I mean, you can drive down the street and go to the casino right now, play cards, go to a bar, go to a restaurant. It all started to open up again. But again, it was all part of being first. We were first. So there was a lot of pressure on us being first to pull everything off the right way because nobody knew what the right way was. So I'm telling you guys, if I could tell you guys, you wouldn't fucking believe it. You wouldn't believe it. But we're doing it. It's going. It's moving. We're working. We're doing it.
One of the biggest, I guess, positive takeaways that we can get from this whole pandemic is that in every industry, and especially like you said, we're blazing a new trail. We're learning that we can do things that we didn't know that we could do them that way, and it's going to change how we do business in the future, I think. When you brought us here to the Apex the first time, you talked about putting on a lot of fights here, and this pandemic kind of forced that hand in a way.
Yeah, this isn't what I had planned. But yeah, it worked out. It definitely worked out.
So yeah, going forward,
one of the questions that you're asking about these other sports, it's 100% safe for these other sports to go right now. But they can't go. They can't go because I don't sit up here and cry about the financial side of this. That's not your problem. It's not the fighter's problem. All these other sports are trying to negotiate deals with their athletes right now to take less money, right? Because what happens is you're going into these, let's say this isn't true, but I'm just saying, I'm using an example. The Denver Broncos, okay? The Denver Broncos are like, wait a minute, we're going to put on an event that's going to go on TV, but we lose our live gate, our attendance, right? We lose concessions and we lose parking. It's a massive number to these teams, right? It's like college football. You're going to put on a college football game where some of these teams sell 125,000 tickets to a game. Some do 80, 90,000 tickets to a game. That's why they're not starting. That's why they're not going, because the financial burden is tough. I haven't taken a dollar from one employee or one athlete. I haven't asked anybody to renegotiate their contracts. So,
Well, and just one thing I'll say, and I'm not just saying this because you're in front of me. It's genuine. The general public doesn't really get to see behind the scenes, and I will tell you, I'm very impressed with the standards you guys have in place. I see all the hard work that you and your staff have done, and it doesn't go unnoticed. I know you've been pretty frustrated, and you vocalized that a few days ago about some of the people who are, the detractors and the naysayers. You guys are doing great.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It means a lot.
You've taken a tremendous amount of backlash just to try to run your business since trying to get back into this. But you mentioned that you have so many people gunning for you. Could you elaborate on that? Is it politicians, regulatory bodies? What?
Name it. Name it. All the nuts are out. They're all fucking coming after us, man. It's crazy. Yeah. Name it, and they've come.
What would you say is the number one, besides the pandemic in general, the number one thing that's been the toughest hurdle for you?
Being first. You know why none of those other leagues could be first? Because they couldn't handle the bullets. The PGA was going to go, I think that weekend when everything shut down, and they got annihilated. They couldn't take the pressure that they were getting. And then once that all starts to go, it just starts to pile up, and you just have the nuttiest of the nuts coming after you. And it takes a certain type of person to stay in there and keep going. And we're like I said earlier, we're 5 fights in, and it's still crazy, man. Still crazy, and a lot of people did not want this to happen. A lot of people did not want this to happen.
Why do you think that is?
It's like, that's what, like Kevin trying to ask me, why is this going on? Why are these people doing this? I can't tell you why. I think that's part of the thing too right now. A lot of people are confused. A lot of people are angry and scared, and whatever their thing is. There's a lot of that going on right now. And believe me, I hate to be Mr. Negative, but I don't even think I don't think the worst is still yet to come. The worst is still yet to come. You're going to see a lot more people in this country getting laid off. If you just look at the financial situation, being off for 3.5 months, right? And you look at the stock market, and you're like, how the fuck does that make sense, right? There's going to be a huge domino effect. It's going to start with layoffs, bankruptcies, and it's going to hit the real estate, and God knows what else. And this COVID shit, who the hell knows what's going to go on with that thing? And so these are, you see these commercials. These are very uncertain times. Yeah, you think? Who knows, man? I'm just fucking digging in. I haven't laid off any of my people. I'm trying to take care of all my people, including the fighters, keep them working, and, I'm doing everything in my power to do what I can do. And anybody that, listen, you guys have known me for a long time. Anybody that doesn't want to roll with me, get the fuck off the bus. Get out of here. See you later. Do whatever you want to do. Nobody is making anybody do anything.
When you have these fighters lining up saying, we need more money, we're not getting paid enough, and yet you're trying to get the next show on and the next show, where in the priority are they when you're just trying to keep the doors open?
Well, the priorities are the guys who want to fight. They're the priorities. So the guys who want to fight, we'll keep them fighting. And These guys can make a. There are more eyeballs on these kids right now than ever in the history of the business, ever. We are at an all-time peaking high right now with numbers, with people watching right now. And you guys have to feel it with the traffic. I mean, we do this show at Laura Sanko, right? In the back, she's live. And it was the last one, I think. She pulled 7 million viewers. Fucking thing we're doing on the back on social media. She's pulling 7 million viewers on that thing. Everything we're doing right now is at an all-time high. And so these kids that want to fight, I'll make them money and I'll keep them busy.
You were very complimentary when you went to Jacksonville, and now, I don't know if you've kept up with, it seems like a lot of these leagues will be going there.
They should.
Have they reached out? Because obviously they have to do exactly what you've done in terms of bringing in the players, the coaches, the media. They have to test them. So they're going to try to copy you in July. Have they reached out?
Yeah, we had several leagues reach out to us, and we shared we had tons of businesses and everybody, because we had a plan not only for the athletes and the sport and the media and everybody else, but we had a plan for opening the offices too. So we've shared that with anybody that's wanted to look at it.
What was the key about Florida? Because again, they looked at California, Nevada. What was it? Were they just helpful? Were they?
They were willing to work with us and make it happen. The way that you make something safe is you have your local government work with you and figure out solutions to the problems. Hiding in your house is not a solution for 4 or 5 months, And I get the whole flatten the curve. I stayed home. I did it too. How long are you going to stay home? How far are you going to let your business just collapse and your employees get laid off and make no money? None of that makes sense to me. I knew I could do this, so I did it.
You said it's 100% safe. Again, when you had the first fight, you had one fighter test positive, and I think there was some concern. Since then,
nothing is 100% safe. My car ride home tonight's going to be very dangerous. You know what I mean? Nothing is 100% safe. But we've done everything we can do it within our power to try to control this thing as much as it's humanly possible.
In the back, Dana.
Hi.
Hi there. So tonight, Devin Clark took a knee before his fight with Menifield, whose father was killed by the LAPD. And then earlier this week, we had the NFL issue a statement about the protest. And it kind of ties back together because that's where the kneeling started. What was your feeling watching the other leagues respond to the protests around the country and the world? And in light of some of your fighters speaking up, is the UFC prepared to make a statement, or have you talked about it at all?
About what? I don't understand the question. I don't understand what you're asking me.
Yeah, so the NFL has made it.
I haven't seen anything that they've done. I haven't watched any of the other leagues. I don't look at what everybody else is doing. I do what we do. And our guys were. Israel Adesanya was very involved in his country. John Jones was out there doing his thing. Other African American fighters for the UFC called me and asked me for advice, and I gave them the best advice that I could give them. But I would, as far as I don't know if you're asking me about social media and stuff like that, but I said the other day I would never tell. Like I said, everybody is dealing with all this madness that's going on in the world right now in different ways, and everybody's going to handle it differently. And I would never try to tell somebody how to express themselves, whether it's fear, anger, whatever it might be. And the beautiful thing about America is everybody can, and however they want to. So I would never do that.
No, my question wasn't if you were watching what the athletes were saying. My question is, was the UFC, were you all considering making a statement as an organization?
About what?
About the protests, or about the reason why the athletes were kneeling in other organizations?
I don't even know how to
Yeah.
answer that question.
So it's a no. Okay, it's a no. And then finally, you said no one wants to see two 50-year-olds fighting.
Yeah.
But I see Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield looking like they want to scrap. Who you got in that fight?
I don't know. What I would like to do is take them both out to dinner and say, hey, let's not fight. Mike Tyson I talked to, and Tyson told me, I can't explain it to you. I'm a fighter, and I always will be till the day I die, and I feel it in my gut, and I want to do it. And he's a grown man, and he can do whatever he wants. So I said, you know, Mike, I love you, buddy, and yeah, I support you. I'll be good luck, and I'll watch it. And you know, Tyson's still explosive. He's still fast, and we all know who Evander Holyfield is. I mean, that guy is a stone cold warrior to the core. So. I don't know. I don't know who's going to win that fight. And they're actually not 50. They're older than me. They're like 7 or 8 years older than me. So, yeah, I wish them both luck. No? All right, you guys. Good night.